Hey guys, Spud here, and today we're taking a look at how to employ the AIM-9 Sidewinder from the DCS F-100D Super Sabre from Grinnelli Designs. Whether you're in a dogfight with a MiG over the skies of North Vietnam, or intercepting a marauding bear over the ice sheets of the Great White North. Before we get started here guys, can you do me a huge favor and check to ensure that you're subscribed down below? Of course YouTube has been doing their usual shenanigans, and in my analytics lately I've been seeing that more than 70% of you guys who are watching my videos aren't actually subscribed to my channel. Now, you might have been thinking while watching DCS F-100 videos, whoa, that is way too many Sidewinder models available for use on our Super Sabre. What is going on there? And you would be correct in that historically Project Highwire F-100Ds only carried the AIM-9B, E, and J models. However, there's nothing preventing the physical rails and avionics systems of the aircraft from carrying the AIM-9 Papa and its subvariants. And with a couple little tweaks to the rails, the jet could easily be made to carry the US Navy style AIM-9L and M. These couple additions are awesome for expanding the F-100D's playability within DCS World as a game and a sim, and are perfect for what-if scenarios such as Air National Guard squadrons being rushed to Europe as World War III breaks out in the late 1970s on the Cold War Germany map, Turkish F-100Ds having their service lives extended into the late 80s on the Syria map, and Republic of China Air Force F-100As having their service lives extended into the 90s. So without further ado, let's jump in the cockpit and get started here. Welcome back to the office of the F-100D Super Sabre, and to start off our tutorial on AIM-9 Sidewinder employment, we're going to be adding a small addition to the cold start procedure. This is going to be bringing power to all the systems that control our AIM-9 Sidewinders and adjusting the volume of the growl in our headset. This is going to be extremely important to you, especially in a scramble situation where once you're off the deck and engaging MiGs, bears, and badgers, you don't want to be fiddling with the small stuff such as adjusting the volume of your Sidewinder growl. So all we need to do is come down to the very aft section of the left-hand console here, where we will find the missile control box. Now, this can be a little bit hard to see, especially when using track IR, so you'll probably have to contort yourself a little bit here in order to actually see it fully, and this is why I highly recommend making this part of your cold start procedure, so that way you're not cranking your neck around as you're trying to actually fly the aircraft. Now, what we need to do is just simply bring the missile master switch to the standby position, at which point we'll be bringing power to our AIM-9s and the launcher rails, and starting the thermoelectric cooling process of the AIM-9 E and J Sidewinder, as well as the Papas later on down the road, which are semi-fictional like we talked about in the intro here. Then of course, we have the volume control for the AIM-9 growl. Also keep in mind, this will control the volume of the growl of the AGM-45 Shrike as well, in case that's a little bit too loud in your headset. So, to actually adjust the growl and make sure it's at the right volume, all we need to do is come to the upper section of the instrument panel here. For our gun selector switch, we're going to bring it to the left-hand Sidewinder position, and then we can adjust the volume from there. Now, thankfully, here in the F-100, most of the cockpit boops and bonks are not nearly as deafening as in the F-4E Phantom II, so personally I think the highest volume option here for the Sidewinders is probably where you're going to want to leave it. But some pilots may have a different opinion on that. So I'll go ahead and bring this back to the safe off position, And keep in mind here, guys, with the Missile Master switch in the standby position, the missiles are safe and they will not fire if you pull the trigger. So we have two safeties engaged here, both the standby position on the Missile Master switch, as well as the gun selector being in the safe position as well. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the air and show you guys the employment of our AIM-9s. Okay guys, now that we're in the air, we're now able to make our AIM-9 Sidewinders ready to engage a live target, as well as allow us to show you guys some additional functions of the missile control box. So just like before, to locate that missile control box, we're just going to move to the furthest aft end of the left-hand console here. And to prep our missiles for engaging a live target here, we're just going to bring the Missile Master switch to the right-hand ready position. Now, keep in mind, guys, just like we talked about on the ground, we still have an additional safety that's going to prevent us from actually firing a missile at this point. And that, of course, is going to be the gun selector switch that is located here at the top of the instrument panel. And once we bring that to the left-hand missiles position, on our upfront status lights here, we're going to see a green Missile 1 illuminate that lets us know our trigger is hot, and if we squeeze that trigger, we're going to fire a Sidewinder off of our aircraft. Now, let's say that we have a Badger or a MiG or a Bear in our sights here, we've got a good tone, we squeeze the trigger, and boom, nothing happens. And we're like, oh geez, I have to get this missile off the rail right now, I gotta splash this Bandit, there's another MiG coming around on my 6, this is not good. Well, if that happens to you, all you need to do is come back to that missile control panel here, and we have a station bypass switch that admittedly is rather hard to see, and if we bring that switch to the up next missile position, that will step to our next AIM-9 Sidewinder. But it won't completely disregard Missile 1 there, and if you fire your additional Sidewinders, it will step all the way back to Missile 1 on you to allow a second attempt at firing that individual weapon. But let's say now that we are having some sort of an emergency with our F-100, and we have to get on the ground right now. Maybe it's a hydraulic failure that is preventing us from getting our landing gear down and our flaps down, and so we're going to have to elect to make a belly landing to have any chance at all at saving this individual airframe. If we're going to make a belly landing, we probably shouldn't have any AIM-9s on our wings with rocket motors and warheads attached. So, in order to jettison our AIM-9s and do so in as safe a manner as possible, we have a button labeled Safe Launch right here. And this will allow us to jettison our AIM-9s by launching them off the rails with their warheads set in the safe position. So in order to do that, what we'll probably want to do is steer our stricken F-100 to a point where our nose is pointed in a safe spot, maybe somewhere in a open area of desert here that's not pointed towards a settlement or any kind of human-built structures. That's looking about right here. So we'll come back to our missile control box, we'll press and hold Safe Launch until all 4 of our Sidewinders are gone. And we can see they have now rippled off of our jets to be jettisoned in a safe manner. So, with those additional functions of the missile control box out of the way, let's go ahead and shift over to actually engaging a live target with our AIM-9s here in the F-100D. Okay guys, it's early 1960, and tensions between the Empire of Paran and Kingdom of Daimar have never been worse. And an Empire of Paran Air Force Tu-16 Badger, outfitted for reconnaissance, has crossed the border and taken photographs and gathered ELINT data of a newly built Nike Hercules battery. We've been ordered to intercept the intruder and shoot it down with our AIM-9B Sidewinders. So, with everything set up and ready to go, we should be ready to find the Badger and down it before it can get back to its home base and deliver its crucial photographs and ELINT data. Alright guys, we've intercepted the Piranha Badger, but we're now in a tail chase with him as we attempt to get within range to fire our first early model AIM-9Bs as he attempts to run and get beneath the SA2 guideline battery coverage just across the border here. So we'll make one quick sweep across the cockpit to make sure that we have everything set up and ready to rock and roll. We'll bring our gun selector to the Sidewinder position, and we can see that Missile 1 is selected, and we can hear the growl of the Sidewinder within our headset here. And of course, just like any other aircraft in DCS world, as we bring our sight further away from the Badger, that growl gets quieter and quieter. And then as we bring our sight back towards the heat source that we're trying to engage, in this case our Tupolev Tu-16 Badger, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Keep in mind, in the early Sidewinders that you'll be using most in the F-100, they lack a seam mode, and they lack the ability to be uncaged to allow the seeker head to actually track where the target is before launch. So you'll have to ensure that you have your nose directly onto the target, and especially with an AIM-9B, you're going to need positive delta Mach. And then once you have a strong lock, a real strong growl in your headset, you can squeeze the trigger. And man, that little delay when you squeeze the trigger and seeing the weapon come off the rail can really make your heart stop when you're deep in a dogfight. So we'll go ahead and fire a second weapon here at this Badger, and boom. He is definitely not going to be delivering those newly gathered intelligence materials back to home base. So guys, I hope this video gives you a great idea of how to employ the AIM-9 Sidewinder off of the new F-100D Super Sabre. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Fly safe out there and enjoy this beautiful game.